guys, it's Jacob from Stringbells here, stringbellsworld.org being a music journalism site, links are in the description down below. And we have a brand new song review for you today, and it's the latest track by Panther, and that's I Got What You Want. So I'm going to refer to the original article as I usually do for these videos, so I hope you enjoy. Now, I've been a big fan of Panther for just a little while now, but they are probably one of the best parody style bands around at this moment, perhaps of all time at this point. It's funny because my least favourite musical movement of all time was that glam metal movement during the 80s in the US, but I think Panther encapsulate all the corny aspects of that movement to their absolute extent, almost making these incredibly hilarious tracks based around the things which made the movement popular in the first place. And each track is musically very strong. All the musicians in Panther are very capable musicians, so shall we see what I thought of this brand new track? Although I do think that it's perhaps far from being the group's most imaginative work, it's definitely more of the same, but in a good way. I went into this track wanting to hear a couple of lines that would make me chuckle, some neat guitar playing, a fun riff, and a couple of sequences of pure parody. In this track, I got all that, so I must say I'm pretty much fulfilled. I think the guitar decoration from the second verse and onwards added a lot into this track, as I did feel that the riff was perhaps one of the weakest created in their discography, but everything balanced themselves out well, and I had a great time listening to this track. Production-wise, the song is very strong actually, and each element sounds juicy and rich. The drums, although incredibly simple and, carrying this straight 4/4 beat, so musically incredibly basic, are beefy and carry the pulse actually very well throughout the runtime, especially with that deep, impactful kick drum. The guitars possess gorgeous tones that propel into the mix very nicely, into the foreground of the mix. Even the chorus that was put on the guitar during the solo sounded pretty darn superb to me. The bass was there and it did help in that low ground with the kick, but it did lack the edge to it, and I often forgot that it was even there, and that might be more down to the musicality of the track rather than the production, but yeah, I can't really say too much on the production of the bass. Vocally, the track sounds very pure to me and far from being overproduced. In fact, I'd say it's one of the best vocal tracks we've had this past fortnight, not just in metal and rock music, but overall. So all in all, a very solid production cycle. Moving on to the musicality of this track, I thought the vocal melodies were catchy, I thought the solos were excellent, and the track did just enough, or rather explored just enough, to keep the song unpredictable towards the end of its runtime. I wasn't a big fan of each riff, and they weren't quite as hard-hitting as those which we had been given before, and I also thought the bass drumming was a little bit phoned in, but these were hardly distracting features to me. The vocal performance had some immensely strong moments, and others which I can't say I'm a big fan of, but then I've never really liked the glam metal vocal vibrato, but here it was balanced pretty much on a knife edge between being powerful at times and sounding a little old and weak at others. It's a bit of a strange one really. The group kept all their stylistic qualities on this track, and it's genuinely a breath of fresh air to finally listen to a rock/metal group that are sticking with the sound that made them popular in the first place. If you've got a killer individualized sound, then roll with it, and Panther just keep rolling with it very well. Lyrically, the track has some lines which I did feel were trying a little too hard for me, but for the most part I took great enjoyment from listening to the typically audacious themes unfold. Some moments were genuinely laugh out loud funny, so all in all, a solid track, and one that is definitely worth a listen regardless of your musical preference. You're going to enjoy it for any of these aspects which I've talked about. So I gave it a G rating of 7 out of 10, which is well above average. So if you like this video, then please leave a like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you around next time. Bye-bye.